Hey guys, Christian over at NFIG Car Stereo. Today we're in a 2008 Porsche 911 997 body style, and we're going to show you our radio mounting kit. And we're going to show you how to install our NFIG radio wiring harness for this car. It has a high-low box to fix the audio issues, also has the most adapter. Let me go get it and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we've been using this kit to install radios in this car for probably at least 10 years. It's not something we've really ever advertised or marketed. Our customers know we have it. They come, we do the install, we make it happen, and that's it. Now, this dash kit isn't super easy to install, so we designed it to be super easy to install. So let me show you the way it usually goes in. You get the metal cage. This is a universal cage that we use in many of our kits. It's not made specific for this car. All right, now this goes in. And now this is kind of designed to like float in the middle. And you kind of have to, what I usually do is that I line it up and then I trace out where these holes are, like with a silver marker. And then I go in with the Dremel and cut it out, so that way I have places for this to bend. So it grabs. Not bad. I don't like doing it, but it's the only way to do it. And I'm sure consumers don't want to cut up their own car. So we've been working on these brackets for a couple of years. The problem with these brackets is, when we do a car, we're usually doing the install. We don't have time to adjust the brackets. It's just sometimes I forget. But now we're finally done, and they're perfect. All right, so the way these brackets work is that the bottom bracket is designed to mount the cage perfectly in those four little holes. All right, that's not what they're designed for, but that's what we use them for. Okay, got a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want to make it too tight because if the plastic swells a little bit, it won't fit or something like that. All right, so as you can see, this has a line down the middle to that line, and then has a cutout in the front for all the spacing that's over here. All right, so now what we do is put the kit in. All right, and then make sure that the four holes line up with those four holes. Okay, everything goes right in. Now the top portion, as you can see, the top portion is cut. So this is full, and then this side over here is lower. All right, so the reason that's there is because there's a piece of plastic here and the back is open. So we're going to go through the back. We're going to line it up, push down the kit just a hair. All right, so now, as you can see, this has a little bit of wiggle room, but almost nothing. I mean, literally wiggles a hair. Probably make that a little bit better. And the bottom is actually perfect. I guess I could wiggle a little bit too. All right, so now, when you go to put that in, it's actually at the perfect height for the dash kit to go in. All right. The top's a little rough. It's tough. You got to bang in a little bit. So, but you see how that bottom piece slid right in? Now let me go get the radio, and I'll show you exactly how it goes in. All right, guys. So before I got the wiring harness, I'm gonna get the antenna adapter. It's very simple. This is the AA Por 1. AA means antenna adapter. Por 1 is Porsche 1. Whenever possible, we try to match the factory colors because it's the right thing to do. That's why. Now, as you can see right here. This converts the black Fakra connector in the Porsche to a standard Motorola style that is compatible with most aftermarket radios. Now, when you pop out the old radio, check out our website. We have videos that show you how to take out the radio. Got a video, if you do want a Bluetooth adapter, we have videos on how to install that. Also, what else do we have? Oh, custom mic. For this and the Bluetooth and adapters, we have custom microphones that go in the factory location. Now you go to the back of the radio, you get two AM/FM antenna adapters. For the aftermarket install, only one is used. This one is a diversity antenna. It doesn't do much. We've tried everything, and adding it doesn't improve anything. Now over here we have power. Brown is ground, red with green stripe is constant 12 volts. The white, I believe, is antenna turn on, if I'm not mistaken. And then over here we have the fiber optic audio. So in most cars, this does fiber optic audio. The way you know if you need a fiber optic device is when you pull out the radio, you unplug this. If you unplug this, the audio cuts out. In the 997 generation, almost all of them had a fiber optic amplifier. Even if you didn't have Bose, you still had a fiber optic amplifier. I've only come across about 2 or 3 cases in the last 10 years where, and when I say 2 or 3 cases, we also ship worldwide our Bluetooth adapter, which is what we're mainly known for at this point. And when you have a non-fiber optic amplifier, the fiber optic port is actually closed and our adapter doesn't work. So in the last 10 years, I'd say probably 400 or 500 cars, only 3 haven't had it. So it's a rare feature. But if you want to check before you continue on the install, just unplug this. If the audio cuts out, you're good to go. Okay. Now, yeah, covered that. Over here, not sure what the green wire is. I know that the yellow with blue stripe and black with blue stripe are CAN bus data wires. These two, I don't know what they are because they're not used for the aftermarket radio installation. So no clue what they are. They have something to do with the factory radio. Okay. I'm sure one of these is probably an alarm wire. What I mean by that, if someone tries to take out the radio with the door arm locked, like if break a window and get in, it'll probably set off the alarm, but I don't think people are stealing radios anymore. All right, so this is our SRWH 997 high-low, I believe is the part number on it. It's a big harness. All right, so let me start with the car side connection. So just to let you know, we're currently still making these in-house. We're not sure how many of these we're going to sell, so we haven't set up a full production. All right, once you guys start buying them, then we'll start making them. For now, if you sell 2 a month, we can hand make them. All right, so like I said, power, ground, antenna. Over here we have the 2 CAN bus wires, CAN high, CAN low. All right, now let me take off my watch so I don't scratch it. If you guys wondering why am I wearing this fancy watch at work, it's actually Sunday afternoon. I left the actually Father's Day around what time is it? 5 o'clock. So I actually left yesterday around 6 o'clock, and this one of the custom 3D printed pieces to hold the dash kit was still printing, so I decided to come back. So there's 3 different boxes to this harness: the high-low box, the fiber box, and the CAN bus box. I guarantee you it'll fit. Trust me, it'll fit. So now what we're going to do is the high-low box for Pioneer radios that are high-end. I usually recommend like 1/4 of the way or 3/4 of the way. I'm going to pop this in, see what it sounds like. If I think it needs more audio, I'll come back and I'll adjust it. So to be completely honest, what I do a lot of times in this car is I'll run the cable down here. All right. Actually, this is what you should do in your car too. All right, run the cable down here. See how it came out? Now plug this in and figure out how to jam it in later. That way you can adjust the audio easily and on the fly. In case you might just adjust it, but like, it doesn't sound right. Oh, also, these interfaces only adjust the front channel. So if you look at the high-low box, it has 4. I do not have any of the ones that have 2 in stock, so we're using a 4-banger for this. Doesn't matter. I'm only going to use the front. But on the ones that you get, you most likely will have 2. And if you have 4, that just means we ran out of the 2. This is one of the few cars that only has 2 channels. All right, so now we have the fiber optic box. Okay, it'll come with this to protect it. You're just gonna pop this out. What this does is that it transfers the fiber optic audio. The regular analog audio coming out of the radio into something fiber optic. So that way we can. Oh, look at that! Look at that! What kind of installer does a mess like that? Okay, so you're just going to pop this in here, and what this will do is it'll transfer the audio coming out of your aftermarket radio into something fiber that the factory amplifier can understand. Now what I do with this thing, like it or not, I go back here, I stretch the plastic a hair, And it just hangs out right there, just like that. All right, so the reason I do that is it doesn't move. There's no need to Velcro it to anything or anything like that. All right, so now we have these two sides that go to the radio, and then now we have this box. This is the CAN bus box. This takes in yellow, which is constant, brown, which is ground, like battery power, and then remember the two data wires I was talking about? They come in through here. All right. Now what this does is that this reads the data wires, and now it'll spit out purple with white, which is reverse, pink, which is vehicle speed sense. So reverse tells the radio you're in reverse in case you do a backup camera. Guys, we got a gorgeous backup camera for this car. Pink is vehicle speed sense, tells the radio how fast you're going. Most of the radios that use this are high-end Pioneer and Kenwood. You don't see too many radios that have that. Parking brake, it shows ground when the parking brake is up to unlock security features. A lot of you guys are going to do illegal bypass. Illumination, important wire. It dims the radio at night when the lights are on, so that way you don't have a bright radio in your dash, in your cabin, lighting up like a Christmas tree the inside of your car. And then the red wire is the switch 12 volts wire. That tells the radio to turn on and off with the key. Now, if your car has steering controls, this car does not, there will be another wire you stick in here. It's the steering control programmer. We sell that separately on most cars because most cars don't have it. Some cars don't have it, so that's how we charge $10 for, currently charge $10 for this wire. So that's how we give people without steering controls a discount. It's not a big deal in this car because it's an expensive harness, but you know, if you're doing a $50 Volkswagen harness, that's 20% of the price. You know? So if you do that, you're gonna plug it in here. The other side goes in steering controls, and unplug this, plug this back in, and now it's programmed. All right, that's only if you have steering controls. You don't have to unplug and replug if you do not have steering controls. Now for this box, you're gonna want to tuck it back here. There is a metal bracket. You just put it back there. And that one I do recommend you zip tie. That's a tiny one. That one can easily float around. And when you're putting it in, make sure that you don't stretch it out too much because you don't want the wires to come out, okay? To be honest with you, that's pretty much pinned up against the thing. Let me just double check that. I don't think there's any zip tie that. Okay, yes, because, well, if you slide it to the right, still zip tied though, because I got it jammed in pretty good. But if you hit a couple bumps, it's going to go down, and then you're going to hear this how you drive. So definitely zip tie it. I'm going to go back and wrap that up. Zip tie that after I finish the video. Now, these are the bare wires. Remember I told you? Well, this is the amplifier turn on wire for the amplifier, parking brake, vehicle speed sense, and reverse wire for camera. Now, all of our harness terminate into what we call ISO connectors. I mean, they're just not, we call them. That's general term for the connector is called an ISO connector. So you can cut these off, or what we recommend you do is you buy a plug-and-play converter. This is a PMP Pio 0236. What this does is that this converts the ISO connections, and this is a photocopy of the harness that comes with the Pioneer radio we installed. So instead of soldering all the wires together, you just plug this in here. Okay, plug this in here. All right, now you got that connector. Has a tiny bit of bulk, but it's not, everything's manageable. Now this radio happens to have all the connections. So pink to pink is vehicle speed sense. If your radio does not have all the connections, do not connect wires that don't have the right color, because funny things can happen. And so if you connect pink to yellow with a black stripe on a Pioneer radio, everything works fine. But the minute you start moving, this vehicle speed sense kind of makes a ground and mutes your radio. It happens once a month. Once a month I get a call, everything's working fine, but as soon as I move the car, the radio mutes. I can't figure it out. And then I look up the plug and play, and they have a mute wire, and there was 2 wires left over, so they connected them together. That's a no-no. All right, and the parking brake, like I said, parking brake, unless you want to watch videos while you're driving, there's really no reason to do this. I get people all the time that say stupid things. I had a customer once that told me he wanted to watch soccer games while he sat in traffic. I'm like, that's exactly why I don't do bypasses, because there's no reason. All right, so over here we have the black, blue with a white stripe. That's the amplifier turn on. So what this does, this turns on the high-low box, turns on the fiber optic box. Now, I didn't cover the high-low box that much. So what happens is the output of the RCA cables coming out of your radio are too low for my high-low box. I don't know if it's a defect in the high-low box. We don't manufacture. We buy it from a supplier and overseas that manufactures these things. And it's just a little low. Doesn't sound, to be honest with you, doesn't sound as good as factory. Then we also have Chinese ones in stock that sound great as far as the sound quality, but they get like crackling and engine noise and popping once in a while. So they sound better, but not built as good as the European ones we buy. So what we did is that we use this high-low box to fix things all the time. So just while I'm talking to you, so what we did was this grabs the speaker output coming out of the radio and routes it through the RCA lines coming out. So it routes the speaker line through the high-low box and makes it a low level. So if your output of your radio is 4 or 5 volts, the high-low box is adjustable, so it probably brings it somewhere between 8 to 12 volts or something. So at the end of the day, it sounds a whole lot better. You know, we don't advertise products unless we believe in them. You know what I mean? Like, we've been installing these, but when we install it, we fix the issue. You know, we actually usually use the Chinese boxes, and then if we needed a filter on some cars, we add it. But this is a much better option because this filters always take away some noise, some quality. This doesn't do that. All right, always clean it up a little bit. Cleaning up your wires is great, but sometimes if you clean them up too much, you actually make a ball. So you see how this right here, this is adding probably a ½ inch of thickness. So this can keep a radio from going all the way in if it's that close. Okay. So at the end of the day, we have that. Oh, also, we have a custom microphone that goes into the factory location. Over here, your factory location is over here. Oh, you can see it in the video. It's right here. We have an installation video on the website that covers that. If you have a Pioneer radio, Pioneer radios have a 2.5 headphone jack connection, so you got to buy our converter. If you forget to buy the converter, just send us an email. We'll charge you shipping and send you one out. Two things. First of all, this has to be correct. When we get these, 20% of them have left and right wired backwards. And if it's wired backwards, that means it won't work. So if you happen to buy one off online and it doesn't work, most likely that's what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me, I'm not going to cover the dash kit in this video because we cover that in a different video. But I'm going to put it back in. I'm going to put it in real quick to show you how it installs. All right, so this is a standard dash kit that we install. We've been installing this for years, but we made custom brackets to make the install a breeze. So I'm going to go up. This little bottom bracket goes here, lines up with the 4 holes. Center weighted, brings down. All right, so we're the 4 holes. Now the top bracket, actually top bracket, we should bring it up from the back. Right. Yeah, top bracket comes in this way. Check this out. Check out our, we have a whole video just on the dash kit. I don't want to cover these videos get a little too long. Had a YouTube coach once. Told me exactly how to be an amazing YouTuber. But since I don't have a business to run, I don't have time to do everything they recommend. All right, so that's nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Perfectly spaced for the dash kit. Let me go get the radio and we'll plug everything right in. All right, guys, so now I went and got the radio. I went and saw one of my old videos. So we've shot this video before. I just never liked the way it came out, so I've never put it up. On this mounting bracket from the back, on the video I said I went 4 and 6. So we don't have good instructions for these when you buy them, but what happens is you attach this bracket and you count the notches, so 4 and 6 from the back, and you mount the 2 screws, and then this holds this to the radio, and then this locks the radio in. Now, this is a dry run. Hopefully it works, but it might not. All right, so first I want to plug in is the microphone. Don't forget, if you get a Pioneer radio, you need a 2.5 converter. Now, there's a GPS. Oh, let's do USB first since it popped up. USB is going to go right here. This radio matters, USB 1, USB 2. 1 is for iPhone, 2 is for Android. The USB on this one, I dumped it down below next to the high-low box. You can always figure it out. This has wireless CarPlay. There's no reason to put the USB somewhere accessible. So I usually just tuck it below the hump, where if you need it once every 6 months, you can just down on your knees and go get it. Now, as far as the GPS, I used to run the GPS up to the factory antenna, up under the steering wheel shroud, but I found a nice sweet spot to the right of the center channel, and that's where I put him now. You're probably going to get a little bit better reception under the windshield wipers, but that's a whole lot more labor to get under there, and it's harder, and you got to break the gasket, or whatever you call it, through the firewall. You're going to get almost as good reception, if not the same right there. So that's what I do now. This is the wires from the plug-and-play converter. Now, the wires from the plug-and-play converter, I tuck them all upwards, and all those what you call red and browns, when you plug this in, give it a little tug, make sure it doesn't come out. Oh, that's why. It didn't feel like it went in, and for the first time ever, I actually got the cable caught under the fuse. There it goes. That's why it didn't feel like it had gone all the way in. So what I did was I pushed all the cables upward, trying to get them out of the way. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully this will be a nice soft push in. All right, and then there's no backup camera today, so we're not using that whole connector. No Sirius XM, no HDMI. This radio, as far as I know, there's no Maestro. AM/FM antenna goes here. Now make sure all the wires are out of the way. First push in. Ooh, that's so sweet. That never happens, boys and girls. All right, now the dash kit. Oh, I almost forgot to mention. This is a 99 7.1, which means you have that anthracite, they call it, interior. If you have a 997.2, we also have the black dash kit. Now, I have heard of people liking this in their car. 1 or 2 of the shops that I've sold to say, hey, my guy loved it in black, so can you send me a black one? Okay. I like the fact that it matches the color better. Your car, your choice. All right, so like I said, remember this little thing? Make sure it goes under. If it doesn't go under, it's not going to match. All right. Those 2, and right there. Now, the top part's a little more complicated. You kind of got to get the notches. So I got to pull outward and push down to get the notches to go under. All right, just like that. All right, perfect. All right, so now we got it in. Now, the most important is, remember how I told you had to mess around with the high and low and blah, blah, blah? Now, look at this. Now, this radio hits because there's a little notch back here, the detachable face. You see it? So it knots. You can actually shave down the plastic to make that not hit. But nowadays, nobody really opens that up often to play CDs anymore. So we'll leave that alone. Pioneer Radios is up to you. If you set a password and you forget it, you have to mail it to Pioneer and pay them to reset the password. So if you do that, make sure you figure out where it goes. Anyway, that's it. You guys didn't see the custom microphone. If you want to use a factory GPS antenna, we have all the antenna adapters to do that, including the right angle adapter. That's pretty much it. Guys, we sell, we install, we ship worldwide of your shop. We do wholesale accounts, guys. You guys have used this kit before, trying to make everything line up right. It's a pain, especially with these radios that flip in and out. I'm sure you got some trick you figured out by now, but it's a lot easier just to pay for this kit. Ship worldwide. The high-low harness, like I said, we're going to hand make them for now. Eventually, if we sell enough of them, because these cars are actually becoming one of the more popular cars lately, we'll mass produce them, but we'll see how many we sell. Anyway, videos brought to you by infitcarstereo.com. We sell, we install, we ship worldwide. If you're a shop, you have wholesale accounts. My name is Christian. Thank you so much for watching.